So it's been a little while since we've done an element tutorial, and I kind of thought it might be a good idea to kind of update some of the older ones that I did back at the start of whenever it was, like I think it was like October 2020 or something. So I went back, had a look at some of the popular ones and thought it might be a good idea to start with the basic one, which is the vertical loop. This is actually the second time of me recording this episode because the first one just didn't work. Like, the recording software just recorded the wrong screen, and that wouldn't be very helpful. So this is actually what I made, and I'm kind of using it as just a bit of an opening card to the video. So yeah, this is going to be a first of a few kind of episodes of me redoing the new elements. If you want to suggest an element for me to redo, put it in the comments. If you want a new one, you know, put it in there as well. I'll read them, try and do them, and yeah, we can hopefully have some new stuff because the methods have changed. They've actually changed quite significantly as well. So it'll be good for me to redo them. So anyway, without enough me waffling on, let's get on with the loop. So we're going to start with the just the bin and flawless like we always do. And I'm going to set down a few launch pieces so that we've always got something to test with to make sure that we're getting the shaping right. So in terms of getting the actual shape itself, it's not changed that much. You want to start by easing your track pieces up vertically into the kind of loop shape. So with every piece you want to slightly tighten it, and then maybe, you know, you don't want to keel it over too badly, but you want to just basically build up into it. So we're going to build up to about this height, and then once you get to the about the 90-degree angle, you want to start bending it over quite sharply. This way you can get the teardrop shape. And now a good tip for if you're building a B&M is to you want to exaggerate the tightness at the top so that when you spam smooth it, you're not going to lose that kind of teardrop shaping. And it's always a good idea to exaggerate that so that when the smoothing tool doesn't mess it up. It's also even better if you can get your top angle to be at 0 degrees so that you can have it really easy editing for, you know, moving it over. Don't know why I couldn't think of that. And also as well, you can delete two pieces. Check this angle. We know that's 48 degrees. We want to move to 48 degrees. And then we can delete back as well. We know that one is 94. And then basically we're just mirroring it so that our loop's going to be perfectly even on both sides. So actually that is supposed to be 86, sorry, because I forgot it's mirrored because it goes over a certain height. So just going to double check this side, 71. If you're building this without mirroring it, just try your best to freehand it and just kind of guess whereabouts it you know, the pieces might look like they fit. It doesn't have to be a perfect shape. Obviously, we're not looking for the most perfectly FED shape and loop. We're looking for a functional, smooth, vertical loop that you can use on whatever coaster. So I'm going for a very B&M shape loop, which is very teardrop, very force-based. If you're going for circular loops, obviously just try and use a constant-ish radius and you don't have to worry about smoothing them. And yeah, we've pretty much got our loop shape down there. So the next step to do is select the whole loop and now spam smooth it a couple of times. There's no set amount of times you want to spam smooth, but because I've exaggerated the shaping, I want to do it quite a lot so that we can get our nice, smooth, you know, realistic loop shaping, which is pretty much like that. It looks pretty good. So just going to test it quickly to make sure that it's pretty decent and smooth. Is that about 80 feet? 76, so I'm going to change the speed to 54. That was the one I tested with last time before the recording broke, which, you know, we love. Just going to make sure that this is smooth. That's very nice. So now that we've got our basic loop shape down, a good tip to do is undo a couple of times when you've got your flat shape so that when you do your lateral movement and then have to smooth it again, you're not going to ruin that shaping that you've just made. So I'm now just going to make sure it's all good. Yep. So now to get the lateral movement ready, we're going to select from the side that the train's moving to. So this, and we're going to select backwards up to halfway to the loop. This is why it's good to have your top bit be 0 degrees so you've got one piece to use. So now I'm going to start by moving it, like I'm going to move my loop to the right. So we're going to start by moving it over gradually to the right. And I'm going to move it just so it's here. And this is so that when you're adjusting these pieces up here, you're not going to ruin your flat shaping. So this is not the final distance. If you're building an arrow looper, this will be your final distance because it can be much closer as the trains don't allow for much movement for the guests. If it's a wing, you're going to want something like this. Our flawless is probably going to end up around like here, but for now we're just going to put it here to get the best possible shaping. So now we're going to take the top piece, move it so that it's in the middle of the two. You can use the grid lines that become visible whenever the you move a piece, and I can see there that that is dead center in the middle. So now we're going to move this piece over slightly. Going to move this piece inwards slightly, get a bit of lateral movement from these pieces, and then a little tiny bit from them. And then this way we can literally just get our pieces kind of molded so that they're not going to freak out whenever we try and move them a little bit more of a distance. So now that we've done that, I'm just going to... Actually, I think I can get away with resetting that. Pull it up to the half again, and we're going to go the full distance now. So we're going to go about here. So that there's actually a bit... Probably about here. So there's a good, maybe a track width between the loop or so that there's enough clearance there, as we absolutely do not want people to smack their hands. That would not be poggers. Did I just say that? So yeah, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move this to the middle, use this grid line that forms to help you, and then we're going to move these pieces even more in, probably about here. A lot of this is just eyeballing. There's really no technique to it, but I'm just giving you a kind of general visual aid as to what it could look like that generally gives you pretty smooth results. It's good to look from this view here to see whether or not it's a constant curve into your loop. You absolutely want a constant curve. That means it's smooth and there's going to be no excessive lats formed by doing that. You can tilt your head to the side as well and see if there's any areas that kind of stick out. If there is, just get them moved. And I think that looks pretty decent. I'm going to do the exact same over here. Move this piece in, move it in, move it in, move it in there, move it in there. Go from here. Now we're going to move it outwards, out, 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 and then out. And then that is the middle, so I'm going to shift it over slightly. And that looks like a pretty decent vertical loop for a quick little go there. Now that we've got the basic rough lateral shape down, we're going to select the whole loop, smooth it a few times, not as much as the first time because the vertical radius is already smooth. And this will give you your pretty standard first look at how your lateral radius is going to look too. And that looks pretty good as far as I'm concerned, so I think we're going to stick with that. So now we're just going to finish smoothing, delete this end piece here, and now we're going to get rid of the excessive lats caused by smoothing. So best thing to do, test your ride, find out your bad areas and get them adjusted. So as we're going in here, we can see that there's already left-hand lats going on there, and autosave apparently. Alright, now that autosave has finished killing my game, we can see that we've got some left-hand lats already here, which means that this needs to be banked more. Not too bad. Okay, I forgot to change the speed, that's my bad. Yeah, we can see here we've got quite a lot of left-hand lats, which means we need more banking. This section's pretty good, so we don't need to change that bit. Top of this is very many left-hand, which means it's too banked. The exit is not enough banking, so what we've learned here is that from around here, we're going to need more banking into the loop, because of course, remember that positive lateral g-force is to the left and minus lateral g-force is to the right. So we're going to aim this in slightly, not too much, and then around here we're going to stop tweaking it because apparently that's where the game said we didn't have any, so we didn't need to do anything. And the exit of this one needs more banking, so we're just going to add bit more banking. Yeah, that's not too bad, but we need some more. So a bit more on there, bit more on there, and I think that should be okay. We're going to unbank this slightly, but remember that the only reason why this is actually, we're going to leave that because the reason why this is saying too much banking is because it's going slower than if it wasn't. So now that we've got our banking pretty much sorted, we're going to select the whole thing, click smooth once to equalize the banking, and now we're just going to run it through a normal smoothing, which if you don't have the smooth mod, which I highly recommend you do, you click once, move the piece, click once, move the piece, but if you have got the smoothing, you just use smooth forward or backwards or whichever way it wants to go today. And that's pretty good. Just going to give that a quick ride and test to see how that's running. Oh, that's very nice, yeah. That's actually much better than the loop over there, which is a bit ironic. Should be all nice and good. No one's going to clap their hands there. That's fine. So now that you've built your loop, this is the the general shape down, sorted, looks good. You can either do one or two things. You can leave it like that, which I don't recommend because 4 meter isn't as smooth as, let's say, like 2 meter or 1 meter, or you convert it down to those two sizes I just said then. The difference is there are two new methods, or there's a new method for making 2 meter coasters, which I will show you when I convert this down in a second, which goes on and applies to 1 meter. In this video, I'll only convert it to 2 meter. If you need help with the 1 meter method, go and watch my video, which I posted a little while ago, and it fully goes in depth about all you need to know about the 1 meter method. So I'm quickly going to time lapse going into 2 meter and show you how to smooth from there. So now that we've done our 2 meter conversion, all we need to do now, the difference between this and last time, is that last time I would have said smooth it up, select it, smooth it a couple of times, and then readjust your banking. You don't need to do that anymore, as basically we've found out that you can get away with whatever your your 4 meter banking smoothness is. You can get away with reusing it for your 2 meter, especially for larger coasters. This is really helpful. So what we're going to do is select the whole element, or like the whole layout in this case, and then hit smooth all 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and that will equalize your banking, get it nice and consistent and smooth. And ready for a usual pass of smoothing. Last time I probably would have said like, do 6 or something. This time 3. Whatever you scale to, it's always 3 pieces. And in this case, we're going to do our normal pass of smoothing. But here's where the rules come in. Well, not rules, but you know what I mean, like advising. If you're going to convert to 1 meter, do a simple pass forward and then pass back, and then convert down to 1 meter. Or if you're keeping it at this, do it at least 3 times. So back and forth 3 times, just to get that nice consistency. So I'm not going to convert this down to 1 meter to keep the video nice and short. But I'll quickly run through. A tip for 1 meter is if you're converting down, use offset to make your pieces smaller so that they'll fit together, and then click them in. Highly recommend using an auto clicker as well. Saves your mouse button lifespan and your fingers from dying, and just makes the process a lot quicker and more painless. More painless. Doesn't make sense then. So I'm quickly just going to smooth this. Again, just going to use the smoothing mod. Highly recommend you get it. It's from the same Discord that you can get the mod from, which will be linked in the description. Just makes the whole process a lot simpler. And that is our loop. Looks pretty decent. Gonna give it a quick ride, see what it's like. I think it's pretty smooth. It's better than the other one that we built before. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Got some good consistent shape in there, and that will pretty much do it for that loop there. Keep in mind, this will not be the same for every loop. It depends on your size, your shaping, your manufacturer, your lead in, lead out. If you want your exit to be at a different height to your entrance, your shaping is going to be completely different, but the premise of building it should be the same. If you want a hang time filled loop, your lats are going to be a bit weird, so just try and ignore them. And that pretty much should do it. I think it's not too different from the tutorial from last year, or however many years it was. But there's just a lot of smoothing techniques and things that can be taken into account now that we didn't know back in the day, but we do now. So thank you very much for watching the updated 2022 loop tutorial. I'll have more, such as the 0G roll, the corkscrew, the Cobra roll, coming out whenever. Like I said at the start, if you want a specific element or you want a new element, leave it in the comments and I will get around to doing it as fast as I can. I'll do the ones that have the most demand for them first. I don't want to give you pointless ones because that's just not going to help anyone. And I'll also have a new series coming out soon of me building something which I haven't yet decided. So, actually, I don't know, maybe throw it in the comments if you want me to see build a certain coaster, I may be able to. And I also have a blueprint, well, kind of blueprint that I'm working on currently that I may release, but it's very mod dependent and I don't really want to release something that's going to kill everyone's computers. So, stay tuned for that. I'll have a video on it soon. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will catch you all next time.